7, Honourable Phil Heatley.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. And my question is to the Minister for Social Development and asks, how will the Vulnerable Children Bill make a difference for those children most at risk of abuse and neglect?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr Speaker, this bill is first and foremost about protecting vulnerable children. We are putting the children first. The bill introduces joint government accountability, requires agencies working with children to have child protection policies and new standards safety checks in place, and creates tougher orders for offenders who pose a high risk of abusing or neglecting children into the future. This work is being driven not just by my own and this government's passion to better protect children, but also the determination of a number of New Zealanders that have contributed to this process. I'm hoping that there's cross-party support across this House for this work.
Supplementary question, Honourable Phil Heatley.
Speak to the Minister. How will the child harm prevention orders better protect children from adults who may harm them?
Speaker, the child harm prevention orders will apply to people who have been convicted of or found on the balance of probabilities to have committed a qualifying offence against a child and pose a high risk of harming children in the future. I've heard other parties have concerns around some of the checks and balances, so I want to outline a few of them. Each order needs 2 health assessments from a clinical psychologist and a health assessor nominated by the respondent. They will be reviewed annually by the review panel and may be discharged if the person can demonstrate they're no longer a risk. The orders will also be in line with the level of risk of reoffending or offending against a child, and will be for that period of time. And as I say, it may not be that they all can't be at a park, it might be that they're just banned from a particular house and restricted from being there.
Supplementary question, Honourable Phil Heatley.
To the Minister, what role has government, community organisations and the public have to play in the Children's Action Plan?
Honourable Paula
Speaker,
Bennett.
without a doubt, all 3 are the answer to some of these issues. When it comes to New Zealand's record on child abuse, it is quite frankly appalling. More than 50 children have died in the last 5 years because of extreme abuse. A child under 2 is hospitalised every 5 days because of abuse. Every year, Child, Youth and Families substantiates around 22,000 cases of physical, sexual, emotional abuse and neglect. And, Mr Speaker, that's just the ones that we know about. We all have a role to play in better protecting children from abuse and neglect. The legislation that will be introduced into the House shortly plays a very significant but only one part of that.
Question number 8, Phil Twyford.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is for the Minister of Housing.